Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Watch my video and subscribe my channel. When Grace confesses, all hell breaks loose, and Sheila makes a shocking discovery. At Bill's house, Finn tells Grace that she owes Liam the truth about his brain cancer. Liam and Hope assume it is back. Grace gulps and says, "There is no cancer. There is no tumor." Hope and Liam chuckle with relief. "You really are a miracle worker," Liam assures her. Liam continues to laud Grace and Hope goes on. They actually say, "Pile it on thick." Finn finally interrupts and encourages Liam to listen to Grace as she explains exactly what happened with his brain tumor. Grace, Liam, Hope, bed, and breakfast. Bill has a few regrets. Katie and Bill talk in Forresters' design office about how close he came to losing his son. According to Bill, Grace Buckingham's performance was remarkable and well worth the money. All 1 million of them. Katie frowns. The circumstances are odd, given that Liam was still healing from a gunshot wound. Bill maintains that Grace rescued Liam from the brink of death. She is a saint. Katie, Bill, bed, and breakfast. Bill tells Katie that after nearly losing his child, he now has his priorities straight. He regrets how he treated Liam and believes he acted like a tyrant. Katie claims it is different now that he gets a second opportunity with him. Bill once again thanks Grace Buckingham. He regrets breaking Luna out of prison and owes Grace far more than $1 million. More. Farewell to Susan Flannery. Grace informs Liam and Hope at Bill's house that she accomplished something right then. She admits that she manipulated the scans. Liam gasps. "What are you saying?" Grace blurts out that the mass was never there. She made it appear as if he had a cancerous tumor, although he did not. Liam is perplexed as he exhibited symptoms of brain cancer. Hope, Liam, B&B. Grace insists that there was no tumor. Hope adds, "But you operated." Grace explains she made it appear as if she did. Liam gives an uneasy laugh. He has sutures on his head. Grace tells him that she gave him a medication to induce symptoms so that she might treat him. As Liam questions why she would do that, Hope bellows that she can think of a reason. 1 million reasons. Liam lunges at Buckingham as Finn steps between them. Liam rages, "You've put me through hell. And my family. For months." Grace gasps, "I apologize." Grace, Finn, Liam, Hope, B, and B. Finn repeats what Grace did, and Liam tears into her again. She pleads to explain. Hope yells, "We do not want to hear you explain." She informs her that she is as terrible as her ex-husband. Grace tells them she is not. The bookies wanted Reese's money, but he was in jail, so they went after her and her daughters. Liam claims it's still extortion. She presented herself as a god. Hope walks over to Grace and gives her a hard soap slap. "You're sick." She growls. Grace, Hope, bed, and breakfast. Liam reminds Grace that no matter how sorry or afraid she is, she robbed him and his family of months of their lives. Grace will turn herself in since she will be haunted by this for her entire life. Finn says he will take her to the police station. When Hope is alone, she lets out her emotions and weeps for what Liam has gone through, hugging him close. Will Sheila find Luna? Sheila wonders in Lee's office what's going on with all the medications that have fallen out of her handbag. She also wants to know where Luna's remains are. Lee scorns Sheila's desire to see her granddaughter. Sheila resists, saying she wants to show her respects. Lee has no time for this and walks away. Sheila, alone, discovers one of the medications on the floor and looks thoughtful. Lee, B&B. Lee is caring for Luna at home when she hears a knock on the door. A voice says, "Delivery." Lee opens the door, and Sheila traps her foot inside when she tries to slam it shut. Sheila gasps about her toes and says, "I understand what you're doing, Lee. I understand what you're up to." Sheila, Lee, bed, and breakfast. Sheila claims she knows Lee's secret. She takes out the medicine she left behind and tells her she must be grieving more than she realized if she has turned to this. Lee hisses, "I'm not doing drugs, Sheila. and attempts to get rid of her. Sheila pretended to leave and then pushed her way into the house. "What's going on, Lee?" "More. Amber and Deacon reunite." Lee growls, "Get out, Sheila, but we all know it will not work." Sheila pulls back the curtain and discovers Luna in bed. She cries, "Luna! She is alive! My grandchild is alive!" The tension inside Bill Spencer's sprawling cliffside estate felt like it had been building for months. And in truth it had. Through whispered conversations in hospital corridors, sleepless nights filled with beeping monitors. Liam Spencer's pained groans from a bed he feared might be his deathbed. Hope Logan's desperate prayers and Bill's ruthless, near-criminal determination to throw his fortune and influence into saving his son's life. Only for this moment, this devastating, incomprehensible confession from Grace Buckingham, to detonate it all like a soap grenade whose shrapnel would embed in every heart in that room and beyond. Finn's voice, calm yet edged with the weight of betrayal, cut through the uneasy chatter, telling Grace she owed Liam the truth about his brain cancer diagnosis, while Liam and Hope, still carrying the trauma of the past months, glanced at each other with that mix of dread and resignation that comes when you've already braced for the worst, both assuming that what they were about to hear was that the cancer had returned, that the monster in Liam's head had been sleeping and was now awake again, ready to finish the job. Grace gulped, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears, and spoke the words that made the air vanish from the room. "There is no cancer. There is no tumor," she said, and the stunned silence was broken only by the disbelieving laugh from Liam, echoed by Hope's shaky giggle as relief flooded them for a fleeting, almost cruel instant. Liam clapping her on the shoulder and telling her she really was a miracle worker. Hope piling on with gushing praise that sounded strange even to her own ears, but which felt like the appropriate thing to say in the face of a miraculous reprieve. And yet, under it all, Finn's eyes stayed on Grace, sharp, assessing, unwilling to let the sweetness of the moment paper over the bitterness of the truth he suspected was still coming. And when he finally cut in, his tone shifted from doctor to detective, asking Liam to really listen, to hear Grace out while she told him exactly what happened with his so-called brain tumor, the thing that had stolen months from his life and pushed everyone to the brink. Meanwhile, in the Forrester Creations design office, Katie Logan leaned against a drafting table, her brows furrowed in that way that meant she was holding back more questions than she was asking, as Bill recounted with uncharacteristic humility the gravity of almost losing his son, the fragility of life, and the way Grace Buckingham had, in his mind, pulled off a miracle worth every one of the $1 million he had wired into her account. Katie, ever the voice of reason, frowned and pointed out that the circumstances were more than strange, considering Liam was still recovering from a gunshot wound when Grace had swept in with her diagnosis, her surgery, her salvation. But Bill waved it away, clinging to the narrative that Grace had snatched Liam from the jaws of death and that she was nothing short of a saint. He admitted he had his priorities straight now, confessed regret over how he had treated Liam in the past, admitted to being a tyrant when what his son had needed was compassion. And Katie, though touched, couldn't shake the unease curling in her gut, especially when Bill pivoted to regretting getting Luna out of prison, as if somehow that mistake was tangentially tied to his gratitude toward Grace, muttering that he owed her more than money. Yet at that very moment, back at Bill's house, Grace's carefully constructed house of lies began to topple. She told Liam and hoped she did something, her voice cracking before blurting out the damning truth. She had changed the scans, fabricated the mass that had appeared to be a cancerous tumor, made it look like he was dying when in reality he wasn't. Liam's brow knotted in confusion. He had felt it, the symptoms, the dizzy spells, the headaches, the vomiting, and Hope's face turned ashen as she whispered, "But you operated," and Grace, unable to meet their eyes, admitted she had only made it look like she had, that the stitches on Liam's head were real, but the surgery was theater, a stage performance backed by a prescription regimen designed to give him symptoms she could then cure. The very idea so grotesque that Liam, trying to keep his composure, let out a strained laugh before his rage broke through when he demanded to know why Hope's voice, sliced through the room. "A million reasons," she spat, the accusation hanging there like the guillotine's blade. And suddenly Liam lunged at Grace, his months of fear, pain, and humiliation boiling over into raw, physical fury until Finn stepped between them, blocking him, forcing him to breathe, while Grace sobbed apologies that felt like acid in everyone's ears. Finn, ever clinical, recapped the enormity of what Grace had done, the deception, the manipulation, and Liam tore into her again, his voice cracking with the enormity of what she had stolen from him. Time, peace of mind, his family's security, while Grace begged to explain, insisting she was not like her ex-husband Reese. But Hope screamed that she didn't want to hear another word, branding Grace as bad as Reese, and when Grace tried to claim she had been threatened by the bookies who couldn't collect from Reese in prison and had come after her and her daughters instead, Liam's response was cutting. It was still extortion, still the work of someone playing God with people's lives. Hope stalked forward and delivered a slap that echoed, telling Grace she was sick, and Liam, his voice low and shaking, told her it didn't matter how sorry or scared she was. She had robbed them of months of their lives, and she would never undo that. Grace said she would turn herself in, that she would be haunted forever, and Finn, his jaw tight, said he would take her to the police himself. Once alone, the storm still raging inside them, Hope crumbled into Liam's arms, sobbing for what he had endured, while across town in Lee Finnegan's office, a different storm brewed as Sheila Carter, forever a viper waiting for her moment, commented on the meds that had spilled from Lee's handbag and asked, with that faux sweet concern that always masked ulterior motives, about the location of Luna's remains. Lee scoffed at the idea of Sheila seeing her granddaughter, brushing off Sheila's protest that she only wanted to pay her respects, and swept out of the room, leaving Sheila to glance down and notice one of the medications on the floor, her mind clearly churning. Later, at Lee's home, the doctor was tending to Luna, very much alive, hidden away in a bed with tubes and monitors, when a knock came, the voice outside saying delivery, but when Lee opened the door, Sheila's foot shot into the frame before she could slam it, Sheila gasping about her toes, and then, with a predator's grin, declaring she knew what Lee was doing, that she knew her secret, producing the dropped medication like evidence, accusing Lee of self-medicating in her grief, and when Lee hissed that she wasn't doing drugs and tried to force her out, Sheila feigned retreat before pushing her way inside, her eyes scanning the space until, in one swift, horrifying moment, she ripped back a curtain and froze, her hands trembling as she took in the sight before her. Luna, alive, pale, but breathing, and Sheila's voice broke as she cried, "Luna! She is alive! My grandchild is alive!" A revelation that, like Grace's confession across town, was only the beginning of the chaos, a new detonation in a city already smoking from the previous explosion, and the ripples from both secrets were about to collide in ways no one, not even the master manipulators among them, could predict. Bill promises Grace that he will pay, but Taylor refuses to remove Ridge's ring. The bold and the beautiful spoilers teaser video for the week of August 11th to 15th shows Bill Spencer promising that Grace Buckingham would pay. Taylor Hayes will also refuse to remove Ridge Forrester's ring, so this is what BNB fans may expect. The show's weekly teaser begins with Nick Marone presenting Brooke Logan with an engagement ring, resuming his proposal preparations after all of the drama in Italy. Nick will tell Brooke that things aren't over between them and proclaim his love, but she may reject him. Ridge gave Brooke hope by saving her life and promising to make things right. Therefore, Nick's proposal may be declined. Ridge told Brooke that he would never take her for granted again and kissed her, revealing who his heart belongs to. It's merely a matter of how to handle the situation with Taylor, as Ridge is still engaged to her. She has a future, but it's not with you, because I am not taking off this ring, Taylor tells Ridge in BNB's weekly promo. Of course, Taylor may change her mind if Ridge admits to kissing Brooke and indicates a desire to reunite with her. Depending on how things proceed, Taylor may throw the ring in Ridge's face for breaking her heart. Meanwhile, Sheila Sharp will confront Lee Finnegan about why she saved Luna Nozawa and then pretended she died. Liam Spencer and Hope Logan will also inform Bill of what they gathered from Grace, who acknowledged to the brain cancer fraud before going to the police station to surrender herself in. Bill will lose his mind when he discovers Grace conned him into paying $1 million and placing Liam in this terrible situation. Liam will explain that Grace prescribed drugs to simulate brain tumor symptoms, making Bill realize how deep her deception had gone. Bitch is going to pay, Bill proclaims with a snarl in the weekly teaser video. According to the bold and the beautiful spoilers, Bill's rage will be unleashed after he learns of the false illness diagnosis. Sheila's stunning hypocrisy toward Luna and Poppy is exposed. Fans attack Sheila Carter's amazing hypocrisy as she evaluates Poppy Nozawa's parenting. The villain, who abandoned her own children, portrays Luna's compassionate grandmother. Fans are startled by Sheila Carter's harsh criticism of Poppy's parents. The pot calling the kettle black has B&B viewers shouting, "Hold on to your remotes, soap fans, for the audacity is off the charts." Sheila Carter, the woman who has literally spent 3 decades tormenting families, exchanging infants, and shooting people, is now masquerading as a concerned grandmother and criticizing Poppy Nozawa's parenting abilities. I cannot tolerate this degree of hypocrisy. Fans are clearly outraged, and one viewer nicely articulated our thoughts. Since when has Sheila been Mother of the Year? What is the response? Never. This woman has never shown any maternal instincts during her 35-year reign of terror, and yet she is clutching her pearls about Poppy's flaws, the bombshell that started it all. Let's take a look at what caused Sheila's complete 180. For months, she showed unexpected empathy for Poppy, to the point where her husband, Deacon Sharp, questioned her unusual compassion. But things changed with a shocking revelation. Luna Nozawa is Finn Finnegan's biological daughter. That is correct. Luna is no longer just a troubled intern. She is Sheila's grandchild, the consequence of a scandalous meeting between Poppy and her adolescent nephew Finn several years before. When did Finn's paternity test establish that he was the father? Sheila's entire viewpoint was revolutionized. Luna went from being a nobody to having blood. Her new tie to the Forrester dynasty through Finn and his son Hayes. Sheila's criminal maternal history makes this rich. Could you perhaps address the staggering hypocrisy here? Let me remind everyone of Sheila's excellent parenting record. Sheila drugged Scott Granger to get pregnant, and after her baby died, she switched him for Lauren Fenmore's healthy child. That's how her parenting adventure began, with a kidnapping. How about her daughter, Mary Warwick? Sheila encouraged the unfortunate girl to seduce Rick Forrester as part of a sinister plot. Mary yelled at the guards to release her out of the jail visiting chamber after discovering her mother's true nature. She completely disowned Sheila. But wait, there is more. Sheila has twins on YNR, Daisy and Ryder, who are both criminals who she has practically abandoned. She has another daughter, Diana, whom she shows no interest in. And here's the kicker. Sheila has a grandchild named Lucy through Daisy, whom she has neglected for years. However, she has unexpectedly become Luna's grandmother for the year. Please, the underlying cause for Sheila's judgment. This isn't about Sheila suddenly developing morality. This is a calculated power play, and I believe it is all part of her largest fraud yet. Think about it. Sheila's entire life has revolved around joining the Forrester family. She failed to protect her status by marrying Eric Forrester. She failed via her daughter, Mary. However, due to Finn, who married Steffi Forrester, she finally receives her golden ticket. Sheila removes competition by portraying herself as the concerned grandmother and Poppy as the irresponsible mother. She wants power over Luna, but Poppy stands in her way. Classic Sheila manipulation. Some fans believe that this is a psychological projection. Sheila sees her own flaws in Poppy, the falsehoods about paternity, the neglect, the chaos, and is projecting her self-loathing onto an appropriate target. It is easier to judge the sinner in the room than the one in the mirror, right? Poppy's character assassination makes Sheila appear good. The writers really ruined Poppy's persona to make this scenario work, which really bothers me. She went from being a free-spirited, loving mother to stating she was relieved her daughter had died. Are you serious, writers? Really?